Today, I'm going to tell you a story that has origins deep, deep, deep into history, but it has very current day implications. Your freedom is at stake, perhaps even your life is at stake. Certainly, your standard of living is in peril, it's in jeopardy. And we're going to lay it out for you right here, and we're going to use an old model to describe it. Zygmunt Brzezinski's Technotronic Age Between Two Ages fits exactly what I'm going to be talking about. And then we're going to jump into the weeds today. Later segments, we're going to talk to you about where the AI threat, the data center threat, where it's going. More importantly, who's behind it, what guides them, and we're going to trace some of their historical underpinnings and what they have done to paint a clear and unmistakable picture that we're looking at the introduction of the final stages of the beast system. I wish it weren't true. I used to laugh at people that said this was here. It's not here yet, but it's coming. My name is Dave Hodges. I'm the host of the Common Sense Show. We are the show that is freeing America one enslaved mind at a time. We defend God, family, country, and we have a special place in our heart for the oppressed. We are in the Ephesians 5:11 business, and let's get down to it, shall we? We do have a sponsor for this show, and I definitely, definitely want to bring this to your attention. If we go into supply chain issues, which is a real threat with this war, the economic implications, among other things, I think the thing that you can least afford to be without is medication critical to your health. You agree with me? Also, food, water, all these are in peril with an uncontrolled war and the effects on the supply chain. I know people that are rationing their medication. So if they're supposed to take 3 pills of something per day, they're taking two. And they're not telling their doctor. This is dangerous. I never would advise something like this. But I think you need to prepare for the day where you may not have that available. Now, if everything was calm seas and the world loved each other, I wouldn't be making this publication. But what I'm telling you right now is you need to have products that you can depend on. One, that boosts your immune system. Two, something that can treat cuts and burns if emergency rooms are not available. And three, if you want to remain active and you have to be more reliant on yourself, more physically active, something that can help your joints function like they did when you were young. And we have that. The Nanosoma liquid spray right here, it brought me back from RSV, strep lung linings, and a negative prognosis. And today I'm better than I've been in a quarter of a century. And then you have the gel, which does what I just said, lubricates the joints, but it does more than that. It grows pluripotent stem cells. Over 30 peer-reviewed studies show this is true. And that means that for me, at 6 to 8 weeks, I started to get relief. By 8 weeks, I was symptom-free. That may not be your time frame, but the result can end up being yours either earlier or later. But you have to stay on the case. And then, of course, the cuts and burns, the skin cream, it's all right there. And right now, it's 15% off for the starter pack. This belongs in every medicine chest in America. Now, there are other people that are selling you stuff out there and saying, you need to have this, you need to have that. And what if you can't get to the doctor? I agree with that. And I'm talking mostly about the wellness company, great doctors. I've interviewed some of them. I think they're terrific people. They care about people and their heart's in the right place and their products are good. However, they don't directly address the issues that I just talked about here. This is another way to look at what you might need going forward if traditional care was not available. So go to iwantmyhealthback.com/Dave Hodges. iwantmyhealthback.com/Dave Hodges. Well, I have decided how was I going to handle the unveiling of what we're moving into. Clearly, we're leaving republic democracy. We're moving into corporatocracy that's fascist and without constitutional liberties or protections. Oh, we're not there yet, but excuse me, the warning signs are there. And for people that don't see it, you're not paying attention. But I would really encourage everyone to get a copy of the book written by Zbigniew Brzezinski, Carter's National Security Advisor, co-founder of the Trilateral Commission, and President Obama's former professor of Soviet Studies at Occidental College. Great background, consummate globalist, not really that loyal to American ideals and traditions. Actually, he's kind of the antithesis of that, but his book was brilliant. So I'm entitling this presentation Between Two Ages, the Loss of American Democracy and Industrialism, because this is exactly what we're talking about right here. I want to go back in time and just walk you through different phases in history. In recent modern history, really, when we look at 6,000 years, we're going to stick fairly close to the present, but we've gone through significant changes that always carry the same pattern, always the same pattern. Okay, factories. Oh, mass production. I don't trust it. I want things made by hand. I don't want interchangeable parts. How do we know they're going to work and stay together and last long term? These were all the things people said at the beginning of the first industrial revolution, which really began in the UK, and then we called it England, and then it came to America, produced things like the cotton gin and so forth, which was a good thing because it eliminated the need for that evil practice we call slavery. But when people first looked at factories, they go, I don't think so. I don't know. No, make them by hand. I trust those people that do that. But eventually, the products from factories became omnipresent and we began to accept them. And then it was a way of life. The car may be the most notable one. The horse and buggy era gave way to the car. And cities weren't structured around roads. There were trails and cobblestone roads if they were fancy, dirt roads mostly. Horse and buggy era. One of the major problems in New York City was poop in the public ways from the, well, the horses. And here come the cars. Oh man, people started making satanic comparisons. A little extreme, but there were those. And people just said, no, no, I want nothing to do with this. Now, can't afford it, too expensive. And it was in the beginning, and mass production lowered the price. Henry Ford, one of my distant cousins who betrayed his family during the Depression, another story, another time. But when you take a look at the automobile, it's reshaped American civilization. It's become mainstream, and many people feel like we can't live without it. We structure our construction projects around it. We build cities in combination with roads to accommodate the automobile. It's how we shift goods around. I mean, we shift you have the 3,000-mile salad. Wouldn't be possible without the internal combustion engine. So eventually, even though people resisted initially, it became so commonplace, it became accepted. Stay with me because we're going to stay with this pattern to the end. Then there was the internet. Oh my, I don't know. There's disinformation. People can go on there anonymously and say and do things, and they can make up things about other people that aren't true. People that shouldn't have platforms are having platforms. I just don't like it. I think it's stupid. Mail the letter, fax it if you have to. But internet, I don't trust the internet. I don't know who can see what I'm doing. And those are the common arguments against it. But again, despite the objections and people's putting the feet on the brakes here, and I'm going to go into this very slowly. This modern stuff is not for me. Eventually became so omnipresent that now we even bank with it. We order meals to be delivered to our homes from it. We register for various things. We even register for the draft. Well, not a good thing, but we register to get food sent to our home. Pretty amazing. Has it resulted in problems? Yeah, there's internet addiction, playing the games. Kids are absorbed with it. And you know what's interesting too, and I do agree with one of these criticisms that was there. People need to be alone with their thoughts in prayerful meditation because we get to reflect where we are, what we want, and how we're going to get to where we're going. And that requires quiet contemplation. For me, it requires prayer. For a lot of people, they call it meditation. But what do we do now? Everything is about the phone. We sit down at dinner. You walk in, you see young people at dinner, even older people now. They all have their phones out. And what's lost here is social communication. And where's the quiet time? There isn't any, not for a lot of people. So there has been negative side effects, but still it's come in and we've accepted it. Now you got AI. Many of you use AI, but you're afraid of it. Well, okay, I'm just going to have it analyze some data for me and look for patterns. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think it's a good use. How far will it go? And this is what people are afraid of. And then you have AI moving into data centers, and people are resisting. Now, if you make it so commonplace, the previous patterns will repeat and will be overwhelmed by it, and you'll be forced to accept it. And remember, the book of Revelation says he will cause you to take the mark. Didn't say we'll force you, right? Didn't say we'll ask you. We'll create a society where this technology, the digitization of AI run by data centers, will be so omnipresent that you won't have a choice. You cannot buy or sell without it. I don't even know if there's going to be a law about this. I don't know that they have to have a law about this. But every time we go into a new age, and Brzezinski points this out in his book, we go through about 20 years of difficult times. That's called the between the two ages. We're in that time right now. But we've always managed to adjust and we move forward one way or another. If this results in total digitization of our money, total control and surveillance of your life, there may not be a next generation of the next technology. This might be the final one. And the final one would be the mark of the beast. And this could be alarmist conclusion on my part that we should not pay attention to, because the history would say that I'm wrong, that we'll absorb this, adjust to it, and move on. But if we look at what's happened in China, and I look at this as a real benchmark, very little happens in China without their AI and subsequently the leaders of the Chinese Communist Party. They know about everything. You know, if you jaywalk, they post your photo in the public square with your crime and you get sent a fine by mail. Oh, it's just what the flock cameras are going to do. In China, they have no freedom. Criticize the state, and the state takes your resources away from you. I've told the story, and I'm interviewing Pat Wood today, and he's the origin of this story. What are we interviewing about? Technocracy, which is the outgrowth of this AI data center technology. But he told the story once on my show about a lady from China, young lady, productive, intelligent, well educated, had an apartment, doing really well. And she came home one day and was really frustrated. It was on the Chinese internet. They have their own system. And she published some frustration about government regulation that was causing her life to be inconvenient. And it wasn't even volatile. And today in America, if we'd have seen that post, we'd have said, it's just someone having a bad day, and it's nothing for the government to be upset about. And the government wouldn't be upset here today in America. But in China, she got the visit from the men in black. All black suits, 8 men showed up at her apartment, and they're questioning her about what hey, I'm sorry. I had a bad day. I love our government. I love our leadership. We have a great life here. I was reacting to frustration that day. I really apologize. And I'll print a retraction. And she thought everything was okay. The men drank the tea she had served them. They got up and they left. And then she found out the next day, oh, she's kicked out of school. She was pursuing an advanced degree. Then they found out, she found out this is where she's banned from public transportation. And then her bank account was closed. And then she got an eviction notice to be out of her apartment in 30 days. She was reduced to nothing by the system. This is insight into where this is going. And this is why I don't think that this period of time will follow the same pattern as what we have experienced every other time. Now, the notion that we're between two ages and we're going to go through a difficult time, I agree with that, but I don't think that time disappears. I don't think there's an adjustment. I think there's a forced compliance aspect to this, and I think it sets up the coming of the mark of the beast. Can I say for sure? No, but the trend curve is certainly there. And China is the barometer for all of this because who set the Chinese system up? Our big tech. Wall Street funded it. So you look at that and you're saying that can't come here. Well, if you don't think it can come here, you're going to want to pay attention to the later segments that are going to follow this one because I'll get real specific and I'll name people and places and organizations and what they're trying to do. And you'll see a building of a crescendo with the end result of being like the movie Rollerball, 1975, where there were no governments and corporations ruled the world. And you've heard me talk about this a lot lately, and I've been building to this moment, hoping the audience will follow along, because if the mark of the beast is indeed coming, the last thing that we as Christians need to be doing is living in ignorance. You need to be preparing. First of all, we need to become active and try to resist because it's not godly. It's not Romans 13, do what the government says. It's follow the word of God and the Ten Commandments. And so we need to resist. And so I'm hoping to bring an awareness to this. And if I'm wrong, maybe we just have the public discussion and say, okay, it was worth considering, but we'll move on now because we don't think it's that big a threat. And I would hope that that would be the case. But honestly, I don't think so. And for those of you who are Bible believing Christians, I think in your gut, you know something seriously wrong. We're going to look at it right here on the Common Sense Show. God bless everybody. We'll see you back here again next time. Thanks for joining us.